Well, y'all were, let's see, well, you were a small child during the Depression.
Yeah,
During this, like, that was a lot of money coming out of the Depression.
yeah, yeah. I can remember the WPA and we were all was just as good as our neighbor, because none of us had any money.
Yeah.
I mean, our neighbors didn't have no money. We didn't have any money, but we never were hungry. We raised vegetables, we raised corn, we raised pigs, cattle,
Yeah.
and I can't ever remember being hungry during the Depression. We just always had a lot to eat.
Yeah. Well, that was fortunate for you.
Yeah. But of course we didn't have any money. I remember when the banks over here at Spur closed. I think we lost all $300 or $400 when they closed the bank over there. Of course we thought we was ruined.
Yeah.
But we survived it. But getting back to the pitchforks, well, that next year I went to work in 44 out there for them, and on the weekends and holidays, instead of pulling a cotton sack, I wanted to ride a horse. Anyway, I got a job out there. And Mr. Burns, he had come to the pitchforks in 42, and my brother, my oldest brother, Coy, he was a wagon boss out at the pitchforks then.
Oh.
And he was wagon boss for 14 years, and I was for 31. So Drennan's kept his wagon boss sewed up out there for quite a while. And in fact, when I started to work for the pitchforks and Mr. Burns was out there, they had something about you couldn't hire kids, underage.
Yeah.
And pay them. Well, he paid me cash money. He took it out of his expense money and paid me cash, and for a year or two there, till they lifted that where a kid could go to work and get a check for it.
Yeah.
And but anyway, well, I worked for my brother was wagon boss there for 14 years, and I'd gotten married then in 53. I went to the Army in 50, stayed 2 years in the Army. I stayed 18 months over in Germany. I was lucky I got to go to Germany instead of going to Korea. So I spent 18 years in Germany, 18 months in Germany, and 6 months here in the United States.
Yeah.
And then in 58, the Pitchforks had bought a place in Wyoming, had a ranch up there at Laramie.
Mm-hmm.
And of course I had 2 kids, and they was young, and my older brother, he was more like a daddy to me. He just raised me.
Yeah.
All together. Well, Mr. Burns was going to send me to Wyoming to run that ranch up there. And my brother told him, said, no. He said, he thought those kids of mine were his grandkids. He said, you're not moving them kids away off up there where I can't see them. So he retired. Well, he retired, and he said, he told Mr. Burns, he said, you're going to need somebody to run this outfit down here, be the wagon boss down here, because he said, I'm going to retire. And so Mr. Burns didn't send me up there. He gave me the wagon boss job out there at the Pitchforks when Coy retired that year. And I just stayed there.
Yeah.
I was his wagon, Mr. Burns' wagon boss until he retired. Then when Jim took over, well, I just stayed with Jim, and I was his all the time. He was out there at the Pitchforks.
Yeah.
And then he retired, and Bob Morehouse took over. Well, I stayed 18 months with Bob, and But in the meantime, I'd had an open heart surgery, and then I had 18 inches of artificial artery put in and run down, where it go down to both legs. And I was old enough to draw my Social Security after I stayed 18 months with Bob. So I told Charlene, I said, and I bought this place up here. I said, let's just retire too. So we did. We retired and have been here in Dickens ever since.
Yeah.
And I was up here, I don't know, I think it was, I don't remember what year, but anyway, they wanted me to run for commissioner. So I ran for commissioner, got it, stayed 12 years as a commissioner and retired from it. And I'm still just kicking along.
All right. Doing all right. When you went to work for the Pitchfork, that first summer that you started, what did you do? What did they have you doing?
I was a cowboy. I got a mount of horses, and I was a cowboy and flanked a lot of cash, because that was during the war, and all the young boys was in the army, and they was just 2 or 3 of us kids, and then a bunch of, well, I hate to call them old folks, but they was old cowboys then, you know. I mean, they was up in years. So us kids got to do a lot of calf flanking. In fact, Buster Welch and I worked together out there, together.
Wow.
And Buster was about 16, 17. I was too. I was 16, 17 years old. And of course, they'd work the devil out of Buster and I. Would flank calves all day. But we was young. We would get through that evening. Well, then we'd have a foot race, see who could outrun each other, me or Buster. And I've got to meet lots of people. I've enjoyed everything, and I've told lots of folks, if I had it to do over again, I'd just do it just exactly like I done it the first time.
Yeah.
I'm satisfied with what I did. I always wanted to work for the Pitchforks. I always wanted to run that wagon. And I run that cow outfit for 31